Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of not Gate 7 International, but newly named Threelos International. I'm one of your co hosts, Labrochimos, together with my good friend, Marcial. Welcome, Marcial. Ça va?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Still on holidays, enjoying free time to watch Olympiacos games. So
And you're watching more games than that, I've been told.
yeah, I'm watching too many games, too many football games. I'm currently watching a mighty French game. You see the green light on my screen. It's
Yes, we can
because
see the green light.
there is a protest in French second division with fans and the broadcaster, and the fans are pointing green lasers on the camera to show they're not happy with the broadcaster changing the schedule of game. They play on Friday, and fans want to be played on Saturday, so
Yeah,
that's why you have those green lights.
incredible. So that's not an issue for Nyon, unfortunately.
No, not yet.
Unfortunately, not. But hi, everyone. Good evening. We come to you after Olympiacos beats Athens Kallithea. What a name that is. 2-1 this evening, back home in the Kariskaki Stadium. Um, it looks like it was going to be an easy game. It started off strong. Velde opens the score in the first 15 minutes. Olympiacos looks set to fly. And then it got difficult real quick. So, Marcia, how do you want to start this? Should we talk about the starting lineup and go from there?
Yeah, sure. I think the lineup was good for me.
To be expected, I think.
Yes, I would probably have started Masuras because his entrance in Volos was good. Uh, I think
Who would
he's
you bench,
probably
though? Who would you bench?
surely, and honestly, El Gabi probably.
So
Uh,
you'd play Masuras at striker.
yeah, why not? I don't know. No, I don't know how where Masuras would have fit, but I don't. The lineup was good, but
Yeah,
the thing is, when we scored that early goal from Velde, I told myself, okay, it's the kind of game that we won't usually 3-4 nil with an early goal
yeah,
uh, like that. But the thing is also the Greek league is a very strange league because every club has his own tactical ideas. Because we've seen that Kallithea went for an Italian coach. We
yeah,
know that Italian coaches are very strong tactically, and I think Kallithea will make some bigger teams struggle this season because they do have quality and tactically, it's a well set team. And I think that was the perfect team to show the holes we still have in the team in the roster,
yeah.
and the fact that they keep pushing when we started to decline in the second half was probably what we needed tonight. Apart of the 3 points, of course.
Yeah. No, I will say what was interesting was their ability to play and press 90 minutes. When they first started the game, I thought they would struggle to keep up the pace. They were pressing, I wouldn't say high up, you wouldn't call it a press, but when the, they wouldn't leave someone on the ball to just sit on the ball. You would see Manthatis come up, you would see other players from their midfield. And it was interesting. As the game went on, I felt like Kallithea got stronger and Olympiacos got a bit complacent and weaker. It seemed like a lot of the players also thought it was going to be a bit of a walk in the park. I'm not sure what went on there.
Yeah, no, it's also a good reminder that those games, like they look easy on paper, but you still need to be consistent over an hour
Yeah,
and a half because we tend to think that it's a weak league, which is kind of true when you look overall.
yeah,
But those games, you have to be very careful because uh, th- th- we barely see coaches, all Greek coaches in this league anymore, like Parashos, those old school Greek
yeah,
coaches that have no clue about tactics, modern tactics, I mean. And
yeah,
you play, look, Volos, you have a coach that he's like 35 probably, and they
yeah,
come to Greece to make themselves a name.
yeah,
And I think people don't remember the interview the Volos coach said on the Spanish press. He said, hey, we're starting the league against the biggest team, and I want to play with our ideas. And
yeah,
I think this is what we will find on the way to the title. So
Yeah.
that's why it's good to win at all costs.
The level in the league has definitely increased, I think. We see
Yes.
this with the bigger sides as well. Panserraikos played a quite good game against PAOK in the first game. We see Levadiakos, who should have beat probably Panathinaikos yesterday. The level is definitely increased, and I think Athens Kallithea as well has a more modern approach. We see it from the jerseys, but also they're approaching things with scouting, interesting player profiles that they're getting players from all around Europe. The manager is also interesting. So to be honest, I was surprised that it caused us so much difficulty this first game. I think our wing play coming out of the gates was extremely strong. Velde showed players why showed the fans why he's quality. I think he's just his finishing touch in front of goal, his movement, his touch. He's going to be a player that we can enjoy this season, but I'm just a bit worried about his consistency moving forward. That was also an issue with other players tonight. I just felt like we saw a good 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and then nothing. I was quite concerned about the performance of El Kabi today. I know others maybe will see that we were missing from the center of the park. I think Chiquinho also looked absent today. Just a bit worried about those signs. Heze, of course, came off injured, and that ensued sort of the collapse and the goal conceded. So there were definitely concerns in the middle of the park. I think this issue of Podence and the winger and bring Podence back has drawn the interest to the wingers, who I think are quite solid, but there's still issues to be worked out in this midfield. I think Ibora was a massive presence in the club. I'm just I really enjoyed that player, and I think it's going to be hard to replace. And Doi is trying to do that job, but it's going to be difficult to replace someone like him, and it'll take time.
I think that I wanted to show that comment because
Yeah,
the lower teams are competitive right now because probably lots of them have already more ready players in terms of physique. I don't know how to say that, but El Kaabi, Garcia, and Stamenic, all of them
didn't really
basically
have
still
preseason.
are in preseason. So
Yeah,
those games today for them were basically a friendly with 3 points to win. So and also the fact that El Kaabi finished the season like that, the difference a striker that is fit and in confidence can make over a whole team is massive. So maybe Yaremchuk will start in Lamia, and we will see a very different team in terms of him being able to move more than El Kaabi, because El Kaabi was so good at the end of the season because he was claiming the ball so nicely and so sharply, I would say, in the back of the defense, and the whole opponent team was basically shaking every time he was claiming the ball. And the team isn't competitive yet for me at 100%.
yeah,
And especially in the midfield, as you said, because we had to play Chiquinho probably up front as a number 10, and it's not his position.
yeah.
Clearly not his position.
I think also it was a shame today. It has to be noted. I think the club sent the youngsters to Brazil for that exciting final, but it did come back when we looked at the bench and we didn't have that many options in the midfield. We had to play Stamenic. We had to play Garcia, who has been dealing with injury concerns all year. And it's just a shame because it would have been a great game for Musakitis to play, Bakulas to play, and drive the team forward. But unfortunately, they were unavailable because they played the final in Brazil, or unfortunately, they lost 2-1 to Flamengo. I'm not too worried. We're seeing signs of a team being built. We're seeing signs of what this team can do. It's just going to take some time. I'm seeing people complain about certain players. We can get into it, and I see you've raised this comment from Stella, who says, hello from Greece, Pagrati, Athens. Marcia and I's favorite neighborhood is Pagrati, the center of Athens. So good evening, Stella. So Anything to add on that, Marcial? Like I'm seeing people in the comments are upset with Stamenic. People have not been impressed with him
I,
from the start
no, I,
today. Do you want to have a comment on
no,
that?
yeah, but I wanted to jump on the
Yeah,
under 19 thing because that today was a massive opportunity for them, for some of them to have playing time with the first team. Because when you play Kallithea at home, it looks on paper a game in which you can throw youngsters on it, and especially when the team is uh, needs more depth because we probably make some signings until deadline day. But
yeah,
the thing is, maybe Musakitis, Bakulas, or Kostulas would have come in or at least start the game. Uh, and yeah, the timing of that game was very poor. And
yeah.
also, it was mainly poor for the youngsters themselves because
They
we
miss
know
out
that
on playing first team football. So
we know that at Olympiacos you don't have a lot of opportunity. You don't have a lot of opportunities, and sometimes it comes out of nowhere, like Heze getting injured for the first time since he signed for Olympiacos.
yeah,
Maybe Musakitis would have played half an hour. Who knows?
yeah.
I,
I think Muzakitis would have been a more interesting to see on the pitch than, let's say, I don't know, Stamenic. I I'm seeing the comments about Stamenic, and I don't. I I think we all need to be a little more patient here before thinking Stamenic is shit, Stamenic is that. I think we need to calm down. I thought Garcia showed a bit of experience on the pitch. I think he calmed down the players. I think one of my concerns, this is going back to last season, was the defense, was the center back pairing. Again, Biancon has moments where you think he can do the job, but it's just not consistent enough, I feel, from him. I think on the ball, driving the ball forward today, he's great on the ball. He reminds me a bit of Retsos in that way, but sometimes moments defensively, he's not physical enough, he's not strong enough, he's not tall enough to deal with balls in the air. And he's clearly Doy-esque in his inability. He doesn't have the reading and positioning of a player that plays central defense consistently, and it's frustrating. I know people are in the comments going off against him as well. I didn't think he had a bad game today. I don't think Biancon was terrible, but I do think we have issues dealing with set pieces, and that's going to plague us. I think David Carmo is not going to solve all these issues by himself as well. So
the thing I wondering is how those players like Biancon, for example, are affected by the Carmo saga, for example, because I mean, they follow the news. They know we are going to sign someone that will be the starter. So it means that they will, someone like Biancon, for example, if Retsos is fit, is not going to start games. So I wonder if this really affects player when we sign bigger names at the end of the summer, because Biancon has been playing for the whole summer. He probably started a huge part of the friendlies. He started the two first game of the league, and I think the same applies for Velde, for example, for Masuras. The psychological aspect of bringing uh, bigger names at the very end of the summer, it's something that I wonder if it affects player or not. Obviously, if you ask players, they want more quality in the team, of course. But do they really want more quality if it means they won't be starters? That's the question mark I have, because the psychological aspect of the team is probably the biggest achievement of Mendilibar since he came. Every player seems involved, and that balance overall probably will make a difference over the whole season. And I hope we won't break that with too many signings on the last days.
yeah, no, I agree. I'm worried though a bit about the deeper themes that we saw on the team. It's just I this game reminded me of games we played last season in the league, and just frustrating, like a bit where the team doesn't have that killer instinct, and then also Mendilibar was slow to make adjustments to the team, in my opinion. Like El Kabi should have been off the pitch early. I don't know how he played 90 minutes today. Like I don't know why he played 90 minutes. He clearly was ineffective, struggled, and there at the end after the goal, we put ourselves in unnecessary danger over and over again by having him up front. He was clearly tired, unable to drive the ball forward, and he kept him on the pitch too long. I would have taken him off for one of the backup fullbacks because that was the only thing we had left on the
Yeah.
bench today, because we needed more support on the wings.
I think it comes back to what I said earlier. The thing is, I think Mendilibar used those games to balance the playing time of some players, because surely if it was this same game on March and you have El Kabi off before the 60 minutes, but I think he needed to play 90 minutes no matter what. And Mendilibar took a risk over that because we would need a more ready El Kabi in Lamia and after the international break. And
And Gelson Martins played 90 minutes as well. Like,
yeah.
after a player who really struggled with injuries, he looks very fit.
I think Mendilibar is kind of stuck in a very it's not a very uncomfortable situation, but it's still uncomfortable because you have players that are on different level of readiness. You have like Velde, Gelson being at 100%. You have Yaremchuk that is starting to accumulate pace and rhythm. And you have El Kaabi that is not ready at all. And you have Stamenic and Garcia in the midfield,
Completely
not ready too. You have the youngsters in Brazil. That was a
difficult match.
Yeah, it was a risky game.
Yeah.
And the fact we ate a goal on set pieces is both worrying, because it has been an issue we have since I think it goes back to Mitchell. Probably we had this issue since a lot of time, but also we did not eat a goal that is a pure goal on display. I don't know the how to say that, but
In open play, we didn't eat a
in
goal
open play. In open play.
Yeah.
So I don't. It's both worrying and satisfying at the same time.
Yeah.
Also, Pirola was kind of good today, I have to say.
Pirola was very good today. I thought he was. As we see more of him, I find him to be super interesting as well. I'm intrigued to see him play more and more and more, getting more minutes. Another player disappointed me who's been here all preseason is Rodri. I don't know what you thought of him, Martial. Like, as the captain, I thought he looked very weak today.
I think obviously I can't predict the future, but I think the issue with Rodri is that it will become slowly more iconic than good, if it makes sense. Like
Rodri is slowly aging a bit as well. It's something, I think he's turning 33. As a fullback, that means something. So
I was expecting to see Costinha play today, because honestly, this game was a perfect match for a little bit more experimentation. But at the same time, we still we don't have much time for experimentation. That's why it's difficult to win a league.
Yeah.
Even if it's the Super League, when you're Olympiacos, you still have to balance the squad on every game. So yeah.
And another thing I want to bring up, like, I don't, as we criticize, make little comments about individual players, that doesn't mean they're all shit, or this player's shit, or the team's bad. We need signings. I just want to make that clear. We're talking about the game right now as is. And I want to talk about, this sort of criticism of or is it a criticism about Chiquinho not really showing up, saying he's a big game type of player. He isn't creative enough for these games. I think the question is, in what role do we want Chiquinho to be in? And if it's to be the creator, I think he does struggle to be that person. He's not Fortunis, he's not Podence, he's not going to create, but I am concerned about that as well.
Yeah, no, I think that the creativity part it will be a struggle until we make a big move to solve that. Either it's Podence, Orta, both of them, another player, I don't know, but it's something that
we really miss Fortunis in games like this. Like, these are the games that Kostas Fortunis has made his career. Like, these are the games where he's made his money, as his level and his creativity to break down these teams is what made him essentially a top player. You know, the ability. It's like, yes, he showed up in Europe. Yes, he's a club legend, etc., etc. But Fortunis won so many titles for Olympiacos because of his ability to open up these sort of teams that play deeper, his ability to find positions that it was clear that Chiquinho is unable to produce. I also don't. I see people saying like we should bring in Andre Horta. I don't think he's capable of doing that sort of thing. I don't think Andre Horta is going to unlock teams like Kallithea either. So I don't know what the answer is. Podence clearly would help, but Fortunis as a player is unique that I don't think we're gonna replace.
Yeah, no,
We're gonna replace him in the how do you say, in the total of the team. Like he won't be replaced individually for sure, but there's gonna be moments this season where we're frustrated about our struggles to unlock teams like today
yeah,
because we don't have Fortunis there, someone who we've seen that for over 10 years do for Olympiacos. So
yeah. It's I think it's something that will uh, show up in our minds this season
yeah.
because his biggest legacy for Fortunis, his biggest legacy will be to have dominated every single team on this league, on this country. I would say, like Azer
Yeah.
is, yeah, we probably overthink that the league is to be played against Panathinaikos, AEK, PAOK, which is kind of true in a way. But if you don't win in Lamia against Tripoli, against Kallithea, Kifisia, Ionikos, I don't know, a whole lot of those teams, you still need to win those games. And
That's where the league is decided. These
exactly,
games against smaller Greek teams
I,
always do it.
yeah,
Yeah, go on,
I
Marcia.
will go further and say that the biggest difference between Fortunis and Podence is, of course, Fortunis stayed longer at the club, but the fact that he has six or seven, I don't remember, Triple League title, and Podence has just won the year he left for Wolverhampton. But
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that Podence hasn't won the league in Greece when he played for the whole season because he does not have this consistency of against smaller teams,
Mm,
especially the first year he was at Olympiacos.
yeah.
Remember how many chances he wasted.
Yeah.
Last season he was way better on that, but I'm very frustrating that Fortunis decided to leave now.
But
I,
I think what I've talked to a lot of friends about this, and what Olympiacos needs is not a replacement for Fortunis per se, but now that teams are allowed to make five subs, almost you need a specialist type player to unlock, you know, like this could be a Valbuena, this could be a Fortunis, because there's no place I'm gonna I'm gonna piss people off. There's no place for Fortunis in modern football, but is there a place for players like that to play these league games, to come off the bench in Europe, etc.? You know, do you understand what I'm saying? Because the lineup today, the lineup today as we came out, I think would perform very well in Europe with Valde, Gelson Martins. We play that 4-4-2 system that we won a European title with. I think the players work into that system, but you do need in this league, you need a player to unlock teams. You need a specialist, and it seems like that is missing. And can we find that on the market? It's going to be very difficult to find that sort of
it's
profile.
it's difficult because obviously the easiest solution was Fortunis accepting the renewal, but
Yeah,
the player that comes closer to that was Jovetic, probably
yeah,
starting
for
from
sure. Exactly. That is
January.
the profile I was thinking, like
They
a
don't want
Jovetic. Yeah,
they don't want to be super sub. That's the main issue. You can't
yeah,
sign someone like Jovetic and by telling him, okay, you're just going to play half an hour and
mm,
half time. I don't know, maybe an hour max,
yeah,
and you will be the difference maker, but you won't be a starter. That's impossible. That's why it's very difficult to replace Fortunis.
yeah,
Because if you really want to replace Podence, you can go on the market, you spend 10 million on a very good profile that you know that will make a difference.
yeah,
It probably maybe it won't be as good at Podence or it won't be as loved as Podence by the fans,
yeah,
but I think we did not replace Podence before his first and second stint at the club because we basically didn't want it to. We didn't spend money on proper players. We
Yeah.
spent it on Yekuru, De La Fuente, Solbakken, Scarpa. Uh, we tried to gamble on those players to be Podence, but it wasn't possible.
Yeah.
But if you sign someone like, I don't know, it's just a random name, but if you sign, for example, Conceição from Porto, it's not going to come to Greece. But if you sign a very top player like that, of course he can replace Podence. But
Yeah.
you won't find someone like Fortunis that knows Greece, that know shitty pitches, that know hostile places, that knows he needs to dive to get a fall. He needs to waste time against Volos away. I don't know, all of those
Yeah.
factors that made him so good over years.
Mm.
And I always preferred Valbuena over Fortunis, not because it's French, because Valbuena has done that in Marseille too for years. And I think it was key to Olympiacos. But then Fortunis last season, it became our Valbuena. Like
Yeah.
it changed his behavior with Mandelibar. And I'm very frustrated that it basically decided to leave when it was about to become his best version.
Yeah.
And
It's frustrating for
I'm
sure.
mad over Fortunis because man, the opportunity for him was so huge. Because basically, if he renewed, we would have more chances to win the league,
Yeah.
easier path to Champions League, and I think he deserved to play Champions League again with Olympiacos. That would
Yeah.
be a good, very good legacy for him after two big injuries.
Yeah.
I accept his decision because at the end of it, the decision belongs to Fortunis and Fortunis only. But yeah, it's frustrating.
I think it's frustrating because you can't replace Fortunis. That's the issue. Like you cannot replace. He's like a generational player. Did he have his frustrating parts? Yes. Did we get upset some games? Yes. And I think Podence will come back, but there's this element in the fan base that Podence coming back will solve the creativity issues or all of these issues. And I just don't think it will. I think it'll help, but I don't think it'll solve the issues. I also don't think Andre Orta is gonna fix some of the problems too. The fans want players that just or they want solutions that are not there, that they're not gonna get. Because the playing style of Olympiacos is also changing. Like we're adapting to a more modern style where the Valbuena, the Fortunis, the Chori Dominguez, all of that this club loves. They love that player. Olympiacos is not looking for that profile anymore. Like they're looking for modern wingers, modern footballers to do the job
What
that
we need basically is another Velde, some
yes,
guy,
yeah,
some guy that would be not Bernic, but better than Bernic, meaning is coming from a better league than the Slovenian league. But
yeah.
it doesn't have to come from a top league, like Velde. uh, I don't know.
Velde shows characteristics that Olympiacos hasn't found in a winger in a long time. I also think maybe I'm being hyperbolic, but Gelson Martins as well, for me, the level he's played at, and if he's consistently healthy, I don't think the difference between Gelson Martins and Podence is massive per se
No,
either.
it's
I
not.
don't think Podence, um, there's Podence has been a great player for Olympiacos, and we'd be happy to have him back. But there's a reason that Wolves has said the price is 10 million, and no one in Europe or Saudi Arabia has met the evaluation. So he's there to be had, but he's not a world class footballer that is going to change everything. So we we, we hope Podence signs because obviously he's valuable. He loves Olympiacos. He's a modern profile. He's everything we want as a foreign player as fans of Olympiacos. But you know, there's more to football than that. And
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. It's the fact that we basically won Conference League and the Youth League, and this summer we signed Pirola. I haven't heard this guy before. no, I knew who he was, but I wasn't like,
following him or
yeah. Same for Velde, same
yeah.
for Stamenic. I'm not giving up on Stamenic yet because he's not ready. Well, Danny Garcia made sense because we heard that name at the end of the last season. I mean, we have to trust on those profiles. The solution won't always come from former players. If Podence comes back, I will be happy, of course, because he will be probably the best player in this league.
Mm.
But like Carvajal was able to get us Orta, Chiquinho out of nowhere, David Carmo on loan. So yeah, we have to. I won't say we have to trust the process because I don't like this sentence, but
Mhm.
the way the club seems to work, I'm still optimistic. Like,
We found interesting players on the market, and I'm not worried that we're not going to find profiles. I also think because of the Conference League final, we've romanticized a lot of these profiles.
yeah, no, that's exactly true.
I think what people need to realize, we won the Conference League for three players, in my opinion, three players, let's say it. It was Tsolakis coming in at goal. It was Tsolakis, the goalkeeper. It's David Carmo, and it was fucking Ibora. These were the three players that changed everything. And we don't need to romanticize every other player who was on the team. We see Ibora went back to Levante for his farewell. Jovetic can't even find a contract in India, I think. It's We don't need to romanticize these players because they won the final. We can thank them for what they brought. But we also need to realize that as a modern football club, you need to go forward. You can't sit in the past and want these old players back all the time because of nostalgia. That's how you get into problems. And I don't think the club is moving like that. And this is more a statement for the fans who keep looking back and want to recreate that Conference League team. So, I'm
Yeah, no,
I
also the fact that any team that wins things loses players. It's the
yeah.
fate of football. Somehow in Olympiacos, it's difficult to accept that someone. I think it's. I don't know how to say that. Maybe it has to do with pride, or I don't know, because when some player succeeds as Olympiacos, we, we basically don't want him to succeed also elsewhere, and we think that he only will be successful at Olympiacos. And
Yeah.
of I hasn't give up on Podence, but yeah, so we have there is so many profiles to find. Like the
Yeah.
2024 summer is the biggest summer to find good profiles because pretty much every club wants to sell and has to sell for financial reasons. So
Yeah.
I really really hope the club has almost secured some deal or at least did exploratory contacts to find other solutions because this
Yeah.
is what we need. We need players, that for sure,
Yeah.
and we need to find someone that will fill some gaps.
And we lost a lot in the locker room. That also has to be that we lost El Arabi, we lost Jovetic, we lost Ibora. Those Let's not laugh about that. That's important to a team. Slowly but surely we'll see Danny Garcia start to insert himself into the team. You know, I think our friend Costa dropped a comment here that I think is quite interesting. And I think I agree about it. We need sort of this. We need a more attacking profile um, when we're playing these league games for Chiquinho to play a little deeper. I think that makes the most sense moving forward. Um, but this is the thing, Martial. Um, the club needs to find that player on the market, and I think they're working towards that. I think, from what we understand, the club is looking for to bring back Podence. They're looking to find a player to play in that final third. The 10 people call it, but I don't think the 10 really exists in modern football. I don't know who
No,
watched
it
the game
doesn't.
today and thought Chiquinho was a 10. Um,
No, but
So
it's the same from the winger. It's the
yeah,
same. People keep since Podence came at first and left. People wanted wingers like every summer. Every summer, people say, "Hey, we need wingers. We need wingers. We need
yeah,
wingers." And during the meantime, the realest winger we had, if a winger for me, the winger's job is to remain on the line on the side and to dribble
yeah.
and create differences on inside by dribbling and then basically crossing the ball. And the one that was doing that the best for me, that was Rangelovic. People say, "No, yeah, you
Yeah.
can laugh about that," but it was the
Do you,
realest winger we had because all he was doing was staying on the side and running. That's what a winger has to do.
yeah.
Otherwise, the wingers we have in mind, we basically be more versatile players that can be wingers, but 10,
They want
7.
players to float. What
Yeah,
Olympiacos fans is they want these floating players that Fortunis and Podence were. They don't want wingers per se. They want like a floating attacker.
yeah.
And this is what I don't get about the Andre Orta stuff, like where people are like, we need Orta back. Okay, what do you want Andre Orta to do? I don't understand. It's like, do you want Bakulas Musakitis to not play? Is that what we want? Because Andre Orta is not that player. Like Andre Orta is not the creative player. He's a
Also,
good player. He's a solid player, but he's not the profile, I think. And I think that's why the club hasn't brought him back. He's not the profile that will solve these issues per se. He's not the priority. We
no,
need to
it's
go out on the market and find a player to do that, in my opinion.
also
So,
the realest winger we have currently at the club for me is Papa Canelos.
mm,
Papacanelo's basically main quality are dribbling, and I've read people saying, yeah, Papacanelos needs to learn how to when to pass the ball. He needs to be a little bit less selfish. But I'm okay with that. If we don't allow a player like Papacanelos to be selfish and to dribble, we're losing basically what he can bring to football and to Olympiacos
mm,
because we don't as we can't tell to a dribbling player that he doesn't have to dribble. Like it's killing his creativity, and I really hope that I think it's too late for Papacanelos to play because is we're basically going to sign wingers, a winger or wingers, and is probably going to be loaned. But the thing is, I'm frustrated because I don't agree with the vision of Olympiacos fans about the winger. It's a dead position for me in modern football. Like name me one winger. Like we can shit on Pep Guardiola because he's transforming too much the football, but he has players like Grealish, he has Doku, pure wingers, and he's barely using them because he doesn't like the wingers to be pure winger.
mm.
I hope how many games Guardiola lost because he wasn't using Mahrez, for example, which was a pure winger too. He had this vision about the team needing versatile players, and that's why
Yeah,
we didn't replace Podence because you don't find real wingers on the market.
yeah. No, I think you're right, and people are getting upset about Andre Horta's not creative player and the stream quick. I think the idea is Andre Horta is not. He's not going to replace Fortunis, and he's not going to. What we're looking for is the replacement to Fortunis and the replacement to Jovetic. That's what I think we're trying to say, right, Marcial? Like I think that's what
Yeah.
we're talking about. Look, Orta has very good vision, good football IQ. Yes, that's true, but we don't want to bring him just to bring him, right? And if Mendilibar and the board trust the young players, Bakulas, Musakitis, to play that role that Andre Orta was playing last season, then Andre Orta is not needed. What is needed is a move to replace Fortunis and Jovetic. Podence, I think there's going to be Podence or there's going to be a replacement for Podence. But what we saw from today is what's deeply missing is connecting those lines in the midfield. Even at the sixth position after Eze went back, the connection between the defense, the central midfield, and then the attacking line was missing.
No.
And it's just like these were the things that Fortunis came deep and he did. This is the things that Jovetic also did when he came in, and it's exactly the profile we need, but it's going to be very fucking difficult to
Oh,
find. And and I think the club is going to go for it because we clearly saw tonight that's the profile that was missing from Olympiacos, in my opinion.
No,
That's my opinion. I don't know if you agree or
I
disagree.
the on Orta, the issue is, if the question is, do we need Orta over no one? The answer is yes, because
Yeah,
having Orta is an extra solution.
it's
It's
useful.
a
Yeah,
quality player. There is no doubt about it. But if we keep thinking about is Orta the replacement of Fortunis, it won't lead to something good. I don't think so.
yeah,
And the thing that at some point the summer has been very long about Potence's return, and
yes,
I just want, that's personal opinion in here, but I just want the club to move on from the dependence on one or two players, because a comment earlier said that the Conference League title came through many mistakes we made. This is true. Like, winning a title does not mean everything was right. It means that we won it because a multiplicity of factors led to that.
yeah,
And I trust Mendelebar 100% to build off a good team, a solid team, even without Podence, even without Fortunis. We will struggle for sure. We will have issue. We will drop points. We will lose
there's going to be
games.
difficult games.
No one said it's going to be easy. We won't win Europa League this season probably. The aim is to win the league, that create a path toward Champions League next season, and to be good, decent in Europa League. And it's
Yeah,
possible without Podence, and it's possible without Fortunis.
yeah,
Like, you have teams, you have fucking Karabakh almost eliminating Leverkusen, and they don't even have a player that would play as a starter in Olympiacos.
yeah.
I
Things are
think we need to
possible.
move.
I think what you're trying to say is like when a system, and we saw this in our run to the final, when a system works, the profiles are not stars because once Jovetic left, he was very useful to us. He can't find a contract in
Yeah,
Europe.
I agree with that.
Ibora went back to Spain, like Fortunis had to go to Lamia of Saudi Arabia, who had to find money from wherever they found money to bring him. And Podence goes back to Wolves and he can barely make it on the bench. So it's about getting profiles to fit the system and trusting and working the system is what you're trying to say, Monsieur, I think. Like
Yeah, no,
we
but
overhype some players sometimes when it's
no, it's.
really the
I
system
think,
and getting the players right in the system.
yeah, we both overhype players, and we think that what led to a success has to be redo again, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
clearly not. And I think Podence's return was probably one of the few returns that actually worked out,
Yeah.
because it's, I don't know,
Let's see.
this
We're gonna see what happens on the market, honestly.
this offensive midfielder we need is a reality. But
Yeah.
if you ask me, who would you sign if it's not Podence or Fortunis, I don't have the answer. But surely you have good profile. What we need to avoid is deals like Scarpa or some backend, like players coming on loan at the very end of August
Yeah.
and taking a spot in the European list
Yeah.
and fucking everything up because they suck.
That's where Orta, I think, could work. If
Yeah,
if you fucking
yeah,
buy him, you put the money in,
yeah.
you buy him.
No,
Because
it's the question, if Orta or Scarpa, then yeah, the answer will always be Orta, of
yeah,
course.
and I think if we do bring him back, would the game today have gone different if the midfield was Orta, Chiquinho, Heze, or Orta, Chiquinho, Doi? Like maybe things would have been a bit better. I don't know. We
Yeah,
saw that in Europe.
surely.
Remember that used to be the thing in Europe. It was Eze, Orta, Chiquinho. That was the midfield we would go for, and that's where we lost to Maccabi Haifa because it was too much. And then it was once Ibora came in that things settled. So maybe in Greece that would work, but we saw that
Okay.
story before, and it didn't work. It worked sometimes, but it didn't work others. So
But the answer, if about after what you said, is we probably not need to sign a very experienced player.
we need an experience profile. I think that's also I forgot to mention we lose Fortunis from the locker room too. there's a huge gap. There's a huge gap of experience in the locker room right now, and I think we need an experienced player, which is feels like the first time I've said this.
I agree with that. It's what I said before. I wonder if those players are
Let me
effective.
read the comment for the listeners real quick for those on audio only. Costa Levoyani says, unpopular opinion. Imagine being Velde or anyone else on the pitch and hearing Daniel Podence chants at 1-0 up. Otinane, wrong timing and unnecessary. Go on, Marcia.
No, it's how many players we wasted mentally with the toxicity that could come out of I don't know, people expectations or I mean if it was Pep Biel with another disaster class and it came off and you have people chanting Podence, it would have made more sense. Even if I don't approve that, it makes more sense. But it's Velde doing a very good game, and I think that's why it's so difficult to settle at Olympiacos for some players, because some of them probably really understand quickly that they won't be as loved as former players, and I don't know if it affects them mentally. Surely,
Yeah.
probably.
I think when the team is up 1-0 in the 50th, 45th, 48th minute, whatever it was, and the fans are singing Daniel Podence's name, like, what the fuck is the point of that? It was so stupid hearing that. It just, fine, you want Podence to come back, but we, as fans, we're here to support the fucking club. We're not here to support Daniel Podence. And the players are playing out there to get 3 points to help us win the fucking title. And we're singing about Daniel Podence, like, just so stupid, so stupid. It really rubbed me the wrong way. Like, we all want Podence to come back, but those guys are on the pitch right now, and we have to support them during the game. Like, so stupid. And then we eat a goal right after, and people say, "Oh, I wonder why." Well, not great.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So, on that note, Costa is telling me there are hundreds of you in here and only 27 likes. Come on, guys. Is our analysis not good enough for a like? Come on, give us a like. I also, Costa is tagging me to say this. We also ran a giveaway for a jersey for this season to win Olympiacos 100-year jersey. The jersey that was worn by the fans today, and I'm told that we do have a winner. There was a very scientific video that was done that was able to predict a winner. Costa was able to do it. So I'm going to show you all the result of the video, and you're going to see who won this jersey for all of those who came in. So I'm going to take Martial and I out. I'm going to play the video. Here we go. Okay, that's it. Olympiacos Red Star is the winner. Clap, everyone. We will be reaching out on Instagram for your new jersey. Thank you to everyone who participated. As you know, we like to do these giveaways every now and then during the year. So please follow us on Instagram and all social medias where we announce the giveaways. We're very close to 10,000 followers on Instagram. We'd love to have your support as we continue. And as we always say, you may not agree with everything we say or what we do, but we love hearing from you to include your voice on our podcast, and we enjoy all the comments. So, is there anything else you want to talk about, Martial? Like, the fans, have we forgotten anything? Feel free to drop a comment. I will say Yaramchuk looks very interesting, and I'm quite interested in seeing if he can reestablish himself, because this was a player that, was considered quite highly a few years ago. So I'm intrigued by him. Martial?
Yeah, no, me too. I'm trying to think about things that I wanted to say, but no, overall, I'm curious to see Tsolakis over a full season, because, as you said, it was a key factor of winning the Conference League, and I'm sure he's gonna make a difference. But yeah, it's basically a signing we made with him the fact that he renewed and he's starting his first season as a starter, and it will be has to deliver big performances. And I think it's something that needs to be more appreciated. Like I say that on the Patreon group on WhatsApp, but we need as Olympiacos fans to be able to appreciate those little news that are in fact good news, such as Endoy renewing, Endoy changing position, coming back to number 6, being quite useful for the team. Those are academy players. Like we we called for the club to trust academy players for so many years. Uh, like when we had Grandpa Vaklik on the goalpost, not able to jump in the air. And I loved Vaklik, but I think it was physically done when he signed. But it's just an example. But we basically have the goalkeeper that is homegrown. We have Endoy that is homegrown. We have Rezzo that will come back. And I don't know if it makes sense to say that now, but we need to enjoy a little bit more of that because
of the victories in the
yeah,
team.
those are small victories, but it matters at the end of it.
Yeah, Doi was very well. I think me and you have criticized Doi a lot as a defender,
Yeah,
and I do
yeah.
not like Doi as a defender, as a central defender. But Doi in the midfield is a different player. And I was talking in the Patreon group over the summer about how 3 million euros and 15 to 20% is easy to get for Doi, and people were laughing like, "Oh, Doi is so shit. There's no way." But then you see him play as a 6. You know, there's a lot of modern teams in Germany and Spain who would take a risk on a profile like Doi and try to launch his career at a 6. And luckily, Mendy Libar seems to be doing that in the midfield. And forget about 3 million. If Doi plays the way he's been playing in the 6, I think he could be a very strong profile for us. A player, you know, a
Yeah,
player that can play in the position that Ibora played for us and helped us win a European title last season. That's a position we really need support in. So
also, the thing I wanted to say is that with Endoy is the perfect example that sometimes a solution from the inside can be more useful than a transfer. If we were a club like, I don't know, Brighton, Leipzig, with a proper scouting department, I wouldn't be mad if someone gets sold because I know the club is working well to replace him with a profile that will be equivalent, for example. But the fact that we struggled so much over the last years to replace not only key players, but a
basically,
mid-level player like Endoy that are uh, called to play like, I don't know, 30 games in the season.
yeah,
And it's difficult to replace because signing Endoy, if you're Olympiacos, probably cost 4 to 5 million right now.
yeah.
So if the solution can come from the inside, that's a victory.
That's a victory for sure.
Re-
Doi as a useful product is a
Yeah,
victory for sure.
but the same is for Solakis because when you have to replace a starting goalkeeper for Olympiacos, it costs money, either in a fee or with the wage, with a signing fee. I don't know. And so yeah, that's some small victories we have to appreciate because look at the competition. Like I think Panathinaikos will have big issues with that real soon if they don't have interim solution because they don't have youth player that comes to the first team. Like Ike has no goalkeepers that could have played over Strakosha, for example, or
Yeah,
over Bolignoli. Panathinaikos, they have Vayanidis, and look how useful this guy is for Panathinaikos.
yeah.
PAOK basically survived for years with that because they had Kouliarkis, Michailidis, and
Vieirinha, they
yeah, but
recycled.
no, they just sold Kouliarakis, and they will have issues with the European list because they don't have enough
They don't have enough
on-mid
Greek
players.
players, right?
Yeah, they just sold Tsinkaras to Atromitos.
So I think Martial's main point is we need to be more positive about some of the things that are going on. I also, talking about transfers, I think this window and the winter window, we're seeing, improvements in the transfer strategy at Olympiacos. I think we can say that, you know, clear targets, clear profiles that we're bringing in and signing and bringing to the team, not signing players just to sign players. And a bit of good news, Martial, you broke the news. One of our favorite signings, Abubakar Kamara, departs from Olympiacos and joins, what is the name, Martial?
Sepan.
Sepan in Iran. So star Olympiacos striker Abubakar Kamara departs for, say it again,
Sepan.
for Sepan in Iran. We paid 5 million euros for this player. That's just,
honestly,
just let that sit in the air real quick. So that's also good news, everyone. He is off the wage budget. He's now in Sepan.
It's a club that's it's trying to sign good play, big name, because they signed Nzonzi, the French midfielder.
Oh my God! Jesus Christ! Okay.
No, but the thing is, when Abubakar Kamara signed, I've watched his games with Athens, and I was sure it was. I thought he was about to have like some few good games.
Yeah, he seemed useful
but
at Athens. He was not like a shit
disappeared
player.
for football. Like
Yeah.
he basically disappeared from football. He basically didn't play a lot when he came back to Athens. Didn't play in Al Jazeera, and now he's going to Iran, and it's ridiculous.
But so I think now that we have the Abubakar Kamara news to Sepan, we can say the transfers are a bit better. Like, I don't think Velde is going to go to Sepan anytime soon. Like, so it's a bit more, Gelson Martin's more interesting. He's not going to Sepan. So there's improvements. And I think slowly but surely, I think the Marinakis, like, sort of networks of club, it's clear that it's more organized, the transfers between Forest, Real Ave, and Olympiacos. It's clear there's sources. Like, before, it seemed like we were just individual entities doing whatever the fuck everyone wanted. You get this player, we get this player, whatever. And it seems like the signings they're all making, the signings we're making, they work in together and working in tandem. For me, this was one of the best summers Olympiacos has had in the transfer market, in the preseason, getting ready. I'm looking forward to this season. I'm very confident, even though there's some issues that we bring up and the issues that we complain about. There are improvements at Olympiacos, and I don't think the Conference League is just going to be a fluke. I think, like, the David Carmo signing, can we talk about that? Makes so much sense. And people were saying, oh, but he was signed by Nottingham Forest. He was this by loan to us. It doesn't fucking matter. It's such a brilliant signing for Forest. They're clearly strategizing for next season. If Murillo has another good season and gets sold and they use him for profit and loss, they can bring Carmo into Nottingham Forest and play and replace and compete in the preseason. If not, he can just come back to Olympiacos for another year on loan. Like, who gives a shit if he was bought by Olympiacos or if we own him? None of it matters. None of it matters in modern football. Does it matter when Manchester City owns a player at one of those satellite clubs they have? It doesn't fucking matter. It's just a way to move assets. And so
what matters for me is to find the good balance between Olympiacos and Rio Ave to get players to Nottingham, because if the ultimate link would be having players from Olympiacos or Rio Ave going to Nottingham to play. And I think Carmo could be the first one that could establish himself as a starter from Nottingham.
I also think Heze, if we want to go down that route, and if he wants to go down the route, is there anyone here who's going to be mad if Heze goes to Nottingham Forest next season to play in the Premier League? I don't think so, right? I think it would make a lot of sense, personally. I don't know.
Yeah. No, sure, it makes.
I don't think people should be upset if things like this happen. Like, if Carmo plays next season for Nottingham Forest, if Heze goes to Nottingham Forest next season, I don't think people should be upset. I don't think they should be upset, personally. And also, if Ramon comes back, will we all be happy? Yes. The answer is yes. Yeah.
But Ramon is an illustration that if you have a good loan policy, because the fact that he has been loaned to a Brazilian first division club where he actually plays, it's a game changing because I don't think he will come back to Olympiacos to play, but I think it will get sold quite easily.
Yeah, you can sell Ramon. I made fun of Ramon, etc., etc. But still, I think you could sell Ramon to like a Mexican team or a team in
Yeah,
Brazil for like 1.5 to 2 million euros, and you take that and you're happy. You're not upset with that. So, and one last thing on this sort of back and forth between Olympiacos and Nottingham Forest. Would you prefer Heze go to Newcastle United or to Nottingham Forest? For me, it doesn't make a fucking difference. I would prefer if he stayed and played there than if he played for Newcastle. If
but
we get the fee, quote unquote, they just gave us David Carmo for free, essentially. Like this is how this is going to work. It's going to go in circles. We got Costinha basically for free. It's going to be a little circle, and people need to get that in their head, I think. And people are going to
I
freak
think
out. People are going to have meltdowns, but like this is how things are going to work, and this is how they should fucking work. If you're going to buy 3 football clubs and make them work together, they should move assets within each other. That makes sense.
oh
That's
yeah,
my opinion. But anyway, Martial, go ahead.
you're right, and I would say, but what I want on Eze if is sold is him to be a key player in Premier League, and if
Yeah,
he has to be elsewhere than Nottingham, it will be good because uh, it's also the brand of Olympiacos that we need to rebuild in this
yeah,
league because we wasted so many chances to
yeah,
sell players over the last years, and because you mentioned that earlier, like we just won a European title, and Tolakis was out of contract. He renewed. Fortunis went to Saudi Arabia. Podence went back to Wolves bench. Jovetic is free agent. Iborra went back to Levante. So basically, the football's world on the market forgot that we won a European trophy.
well, they
And
don't care.
the
I think
successful Olympiacos know that we have a youth system that is operating. We have Nottingham Forest to give us player on loan. We have Rio Ave to send player to play or to sell player like Versailles, for example.
yeah,
We have an easy way out. Uh, we just need sales
yeah,
to get money into Olympiacos and rejuvenate the core of players. And it's easier with sales because it's all football works nowadays. Like if someone comes and say, "Okay, I'm buying Ortega for 8 million," that it has to go.
yeah,
That's how it works.
yeah. So I
And
think on
and
that note, we can start to wrap up because we're going over
yeah,
an
yeah,
hour
yeah,
here.
true.
What I like we always do. Who was your man of the match, coach's grade for tonight?
Coach's grade would be probably B for
Yeah,
Mendilipa because the lineup was good, but I didn't like the fact that El Kaabi played the whole game, and the fact that Velde came off,
yeah,
and man of the match probably Pirola, I would say,
yeah,
because I need if I want to encourage him for the future, so I'll give
yeah.
him the match of the match.
I I think I agree with you on Pirola. Very stable. Is there someone I'm forgetting? Actually, I think Ortega played quite well. He was a bit poor on the goal,
Yeah, you're right. Ortega
but
could
the
be
assist of Ortega was very interesting. Super interesting. Yeah, but I'll stick with Pirola, just discounting the goal on Ortega real quick. But I'd give a B minus B or B to Mendy Lipar. I just didn't understand sticking with El Kabi, like sticking with El Kabi. And to be fair, he technically got the assist for the goal, right? So El Kabi did do this, but he left him on the pitch too long. Like the defense was crying for support. And I know everyone in the comments said we had no midfielder on the bench, blah 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 blah. Bring a fucking fullback in, another fullback off the bench, have them play more defensive, etc., etc. Like bring the lines back. And that was too risky at the end. What happened there? Like we could have easily dropped points. So I I was a bit concerned there at the end. I felt like he needed to clean it up.
Also, something that worries me is that it's been 2 games in which Endoy ends the game as a centre back with Biancon coming off, and I don't think that is very sustainable over time.
I don't get that. Why? I didn't get that substitution.
It has been twice since Biancon hasn't finished the game. It could have. I agree, it wasn't super good tonight, but you don't. I think it's my opinion, but you don't sub a center back like that.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So, on that note, I think we're done here, everyone. I want to congratulate our winner, the Olympiacos Red Star non-official Instagram account won our giveaway. Congratulations to him. Olympiacos is off to the races, 6 points, 2 out of 2 wins. Our next game is against Lamia away before the international break. One more game, and between them, a long stretch of days until the close of the window. Stay strong, everyone, mentally. Don't freak out. Don't Google Daniel Podence every 5 minutes. So we will be with you next week after the Lamia game. Please keep an eye out for our transfer specials. We release them every day here now that we're in the home stretch, giving you all the news about signings in and out. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a great week. Enjoy the end of summer.
Trust the process, guy.
And trust the process.
We should not be the one that fear the future in the Super League.
Exactly.
We can't compare ourselves to the competition every time. I know it's a way to keep pushing toward the top, but the competition in this league, it will always be ourselves. If the fans do not believe it's in some players, and I'm not talking about not believing in players like, I don't know, De La Fuente, Wijo, Abubakar Kamara, which it was obvious they weren't good enough for the club.
Yeah.
But it's been the first time since we had no qualifiers. We had, I don't know, I don't want to sound too optimistic because it's football. This is what, in football, maybe tomorrow we will sign 3 players and this show would be completely useless. But the thing is, the fear has to come from other team toward Olympiacos, not the opposite. Yeah. And I say that, having said that, I was fearing that PAOK would have a tremendous summer, but it didn't happen. So
yeah, they kind of fell flat this summer a bit. PAOK.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, on that note, everyone, we will see you soon. Have a great week. Have a good rest of the summer. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.